All right, so we are in a new part of Taiwan and just had perhaps one of the largest dinners I've ever had that was kind of non-wedding. I think we had 30 family members sitting around these gigantic tables, so kind of fun. But that means, we're going to do a daily Millionaire News subscriber question video. And I'm going to ask for some help here in a minute because I need your ideas for a topic I've been asked to present on. And given that the internet connection is slow here, I am going to record this and then upload it. And hopefully it's completed uploading by the time I wake up tomorrow. So in the end, let's get into the daily Millionaire News first. And we got to start with this virus, this contagion that is going around. I find it a little bit interesting because when I did some research on just the flu, right, the thing that we see in the U.S., it kills roughly 6,000 people a year, plus or minus every year. The current contagion here that started in China has spread throughout the world already. I believe latest count has taken 21 lives. Now that is accelerating, and the cases are accelerating, and that province is on total lockdown, and there's bad stuff going on for sure. But according to one piece of news I had yesterday, it sounds like while this virus may be more contagious, it is not as severe as the virus we know of as SARS from 2002 to 2003. So definitely a problem, definitely something to worry about. It is definitely starting to impact, consumers. Again, I'm in Taiwan. We got here 3 or 4 days ago, and there were some masks at the airport, but that was more, I believe, people coming in. It wasn't a lot here day 1, day 2, but they are starting to come around as we're on day 3. We just took a high-speed train to this other location, and they were pretty prevalent. So not really sure. I guess it's just in the news more. But what I think is going to start to happen is it's going to start to impact consumer psychology here in Asia. Many New Year celebrations have been canceled. A marathon was canceled. Disney is closed. Hong Kong, the big news of the day, declared a virus emergency. I don't even know what a virus emergency was, but basically they shut down all traffic to China, these main cities, and no flights. No high-speed rail. And get this, schools are shut down till February 17th, which I find interesting. This, again, is because the incubation period for this particular virus is at about a week. Why do we care about this? Well, we care because consumers drive the economy. A scared consumer will save money and buy bonds, and look at what we saw in bonds this week. Bonds were down, let me make sure I get it right. This is a 10-year. In a 1-week period, went from 1.83 to 1.68. That's a 0.15 drop in a week, which is pretty significant. I do not recall a week that drastic non-Fed rate cut. That is a pretty big drop. So again, what I think people will start to be talking about next week, if this gets worse, is they're going to start talking about a flattening yield curve again. Remember all that talk from a year ago about the yield curve, and the yield curve went negative, and oh my God, a recession is coming? This virus, this contagion, right, is going to be interesting because now we have Saturday and Sunday to go through, and if we see exponential growth, we're talking, I think it's at 800 is the last thing I saw. If we were like at 8,000 by Monday, we're going to really start to see consumer impact, and we're going to see some people get scared, especially if it goes from 1 or 2 cases in foreign countries to 50 to 100. And we start seeing fatalities in non-China. That will be not a good thing, but we will see there. So that is interesting. Next up, I got a subscriber question. Again, we're merging daily Millionaire News subscriber questions and, of course, a topic for you here momentarily where I need your help into one long video. So the subscriber question today is, hey, I'm buying a property. It's tenant occupied. What should I think about? Well, there's a couple things you just must do. First off, you must get a copy of the lease You must then, I strongly suggest, verify names. Just because you got a copy of the lease does not mean that lease matches people who are in the place of that you're buying, right? Occupancy has been different before. Do what best you can to verify payments. I would see if you can't verify payments on both sides. I have seen situations where past landlords have, I don't know, paid the rent themselves or doctored the reports. But again, if you can ask both parties, for proof of payment, canceled checks, money orders, whatever it is, that would be good. I've always, if I do get a chance, try to talk to the tenant. I'd love to get them to generate a list of repairs. Right? Hey, tell me what's working, what's not working. What is the past landlord not done to the place? And you're going to get one of two things. You're going to get no, everything's great because they don't want to get rent raised, or they're going to give you a huge laundry list, which could be a red flag in of its own. You need to definitely decide if your plan is to keep them. If you bought a place and you've agreed to take it over with occupancy, next choice is yours. Do you want to keep them? Did you buy it because they were there? You want to do cash for keys and get them out? Do you want to give them a 60 or 90-day notice based on where you are buying? What's the plan, right? Do you need them out because you're doing a full remodel? Do you need them out because they're so grossly under market? The other thing to think about is if you are going to raise rent, just realize that they're going to want to see some improvements there as well. So lots to consider. I buy properties that are tenant occupied all the time, so it's not a huge red flag at all. Next up, there is a question about subject to. Subject to is something we talked about with Pace, P-A-C-E, out of Arizona. 2 months ago. I strongly suggest that video as he went through several deals in detail. He is the expert there. I am not. I will say about subject to that I believe it is going to become a consistent buying pattern of ours, and thus I need to figure it out. And when I do, I will share it with you because what I see happening is interest rates. Basically, if real estate gets soft, like I think it will in 3 or 4 years, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to pick up properties and assume the mortgage, right, subject to the mortgages, because they're going to have low fixed rate debt on them in most cases, right, 30 years and the like. So I do think this is something we are going to do more and more. Next up, actually got a note from someone who said he heard me on Bigger Pockets, I think it was, and then he found my podcast, One Rental at a Time. So thank you for finding that. Then he got inspired to go to Fresno, and now he's going to go check out the Hub, and he's going to meet some of the team members there, wholesalers, GCs, and the like. So, yeah, if you're ever in Fresno, you want to come see what we're doing, it's there on Van Ness. I think it's 1567 Van Ness, near Van Ness and McKinley. We are doing some big things there, and I am looking to a day when that office is generating $1 million a week in business for folks. That could be private lending, that could be acquisitions, that could be selling, all kinds of things we could get there. We're not going to get to that $1 million a week number overnight, but if we can get there in 3 or 4 years, that would be pretty cool. So the last thing, I need your help. I've been asked to present on a topic, and I need your suggestions. I've been asked to speak at an event talking about, hey, how do you go from 8 to 80, right? How do you use, whether it's 1031 exchange, cash out refis, how do you take that next step, right? If you've read our book, One Rental at a Time, you realize that I've sort of painted a vision of 3 or 4 steps. Step 1 was going from 0 to 8 houses. Step 2 was that 8 to 80 transition. So what do you want to hear about that? And just to round that out, step 3 was kind of, hedge funds, private money, hard money. How do we just keep buying when everything is on sale? For that second step, though, going from 8 to 80, what do you want to hear? I don't know. Do you want to hear about the experience with 1031? Do you want to hear about what we were thinking, lessons learned? I'm just trying to brainstorm. You could really help me out here. So in the end, this may be the only video I record for your Saturday. Please enjoy it. Keep giving me subscriber questions. I love how the channel is growing. Hit that subscribe button, leave questions. I will keep answering them probably en masse like we did on this topic. We're going to keep doing the daily Millionaire news because I've committed that to you. So even though I'm remarkably tired right now, I wanted to make sure I did a half hour or so of reading so I could share with you what's going on. And if you're ever in Fresno, you've got to come check out the hub. That is going to be a growing enterprise and a lot of fun to do. So in the end, thank you for listening. Let's see what happens this weekend, these next 48 hours with the virus. Let's hope it calms down. But if it does explode in quantity, expect rates to fall even further as people get frightened. All right, everybody, take care. Happy New Year. Have fun.